bombshell. My mind is shredding air like the blades of an Apache attack helicopter, wreaking havoc on the enemy, leaving pain, love and longing, ambition and detritus. We keep our heads below the barricades as the government try to frighten us, with ideas that amputate the souls of the excited, except for the neo-fascists, their flames reignited, masquerading as democracy, wielding the axe of social capital. The big society drops the needy indiscriminately like a bombshell. It comes as no surprise interest rates are at an all-time low. Forgotten children of our time will have their own panorama show. Apologies will not help politicians and their artful bankers when revolution hits the streets and they turn and try to thank us for stopping them in their tracks as they did their very best to dismantle the very essence of humanity that separates ordinary man from mere cattle. Wearing latex attitudes, the uniform of the infidel, ripping the heart out of a nation with the immorality of a bombshell. And I think I have the proof they put insecticide inside of us, just to pull off our wings and kill off the spirit to fight in us. But as the spider killed the fly, so the bird ate the spider next. Read between the lines and understand the unwritten text. It wasn't eating the horse that killed the bloated broad in question, but the very first decision that led to the suggestion that the small and the hapless have no meaning and no consequence, or that size is the paradigm, and that what is futile is resistance. 'Cause history has a habit of the repeating of emerging themes, that survival of the fittest is not always quite what it seems, in that understanding fitness is understanding the way to lead a people back from the brink of a disaster brought about by greed. 'Cause compassion for the lost and empathy with the ne'er-do-wells, redressing the balance between avarice and rediscovering moral wealth. So, no matter how injurious and painful a living hell, belief in human rights is the most efficacious bombshell.
This poem is called 2020. Friday 13th March 2020. Unlucky for many. My last coffee in a cafe. Friday 20th of March 2020. We lost momentum. My last day in the office. I've been all over my house. Cautiously, I seek comfort. I'm still setting up my office in my home. Marching away from the norm to come and go as we please. I've lost my sense of liberty. Enjoyed a little bit of freedom while shopping, working gigs. I've missed the last train and bus. I'm a juggler, working mum, confined, limited and reduced. I'm a prisoner in my own home. When I exercise, I fall in nettles, then scramble up with my stick. I laugh, cry, laugh, but smile. It's now Friday, 5th of June, 2020. Now, I can't do very much, so I sit, read, chat, and like this.
Day by Robert Punton. What a beautiful day to sit in the garden, soak up some sun rays, dream of brighter days and happier times. Hope for times when we can sip cold drinks from long iced glasses, enjoying the comforting company of those we now long for in crowded garden gatherings, where we can mindfully and mindlessly mingle without fear from contamination.
collisions and contradictions. A bleak midsummer portents a bellicose affirmation. We are all in this together, a vacuous confirmation. Homebound husbandry, a prize for isolation. Solitary confinement, the price of infection. Entreated by a plague to succumb to the black shadow, commoners remonstrate the iniquities in death. A crowning virus rules even the lordly, the walls of injustice a fulcrum for bias. The keeps of the keepers keeping sanitary borders, atheists cast to pray for a deceitful optimism, the masked masquerade a hidden panic, denying the inevitable, defying the demonstrable. A world shrunken by collapsing societies, paroxysms paralyse nations indiscriminately. Vulnerable citizens, shielding ourselves in deepening despair, watch the prematurely emancipated with incredulity. Yearning the fortitudes of plague-inspired epiphanies manifest in transient bastions to the citadels of equality.
Do not look for me in the old familiar places, for there I will not be found, not driving down your roads, carrying placards on your crowded streets, not giving forth in government courts. Even those stages I could climb on to perform are no longer open to me, so I will either be propped up in my bed or sat in my lounge, wearing my lockdown loungewear. My only two options, no pretense of choice here. I and many of my fellow citizens are suffering from lockdown lethargy. My poems have become prayers for the living and dying, messages of hope for those surviving, sorrowful laments for those we have lost to this physically dangerous, emotionally draining pandemic COVID-19. That seems to be my existence for the foreseeable future, until lockdown comes to an end and we are released back into our communities, into a world that might be forever changed.
Life under lockdown. I've passed the time by working from home, something I've never done. 8 hours of emails, phones, video calls, working to help the community I live in. Trying to tolerate the pain in my back, upper back. I passed the time by carrying my laptop around like a baby, collecting images from each room of my house, around and around my garden, opening it to work or chat to friends. I passed the time by listening to family, the stories that made me laugh. While in a conference call with managers, the sound of religious prayers or the Indian cinema are playing in the background. I've passed the time by watching birds and animals through my window, observing and being drawn into another universe. A fight for survival. I wonder what goes on in their heads. I've passed the time by testing my teenage daughter's hair and beauty parlour, encouraging kids to keep up with their school and university work, but late nights, late mornings turning to bad habits. I've passed the time by watching my elders, my in-laws being confined to their homes. They wash hands. It's an ambiguous game where not touching cannot be explained. It's like aliens have taken over the world. I've passed the time by rearranging the furniture, clearing out the clutter of our lives. I find silence while I stare into space, I think of friends, family and colleagues. Life under lockdown, it's been a rocky ride. I've passed the time by reading books, imagining what life would be like in a war zone. I know as an Asian disabled woman, my life would not have been worth much. Here, umbrellas give me shade, keep me dry.
As this pandemic plays out, lights go out all over the world. The lights I speak of are living souls. Christian, Muslim, Sikh, Jew. Religion matters not. Creed or colour is no defence, no protection. Ability or disability is no shield to this horror we all can yield. COVID-19 hits us all. Care and compassion is what we can all wield as we take to the field in defence. So once this lockdown is picked, we are once more set free. Look up to the night skies, where stars are born to mark the passing of souls. Give praise for those we have lost. Be assured to those who care, those who matter. Your lives mattered. We will honour you. We will remember you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to invite you to our world-class venue. You're about to witness a production which has stunned the nation, a global phenomenon, a play of pandemic proportion. But before we start the show, there's some housekeeping and information you should know. There's no entry fee. Bring the whole family. It appeals to all, youngsters, elderly, the fit and healthy, even your newborn baby. Put your feet up on our homemade footstools made of mass-bought bog rolls. For comfort and leg stretching, the seats are 2 metres apart, but we can squeeze a few more in. What's the harm? There was some on-set problems. A few cast members were harmed in the making of this production, and there were a few fatalities. Some dodgy equipment, some knockoff props, loose lighting rigs, Poundland pyrotechnics, some contaminated costumes and wigs, a tampered with trapdoor and some shocking mic leads. But you know, the show must go on. It's what they sign up for. Money doesn't grow on magical trees. We can't always meet the actors' needs. There was some footage leaked overseas, some knockoffs from China and Italy, some spoilers and behind the scenes. I blame 5G. Nothing serious, some stage plans and bootleg programmes, nothing that will affect us. The only audience participation, but you're not under any obligation, is to stay in your seats. Like Jacob Rees-Mogg, sit back, recline, unless you feel the need to exercise. Your inner Mr. Motivator's on the rise, even if you don't usually train, but now you've got that urge to make some calories burn, get in some miles, then please put on one of our complimentary Sports Direct tracksuits and jog up and down the aisles. If the show isn't for you, remember the customer is always right and your satisfaction is the key. So why not go for a hike, ride your bike or throw a karaoke party? We have a birthday in the audience. We don't want to interrupt the performance, but we will be singing happy birthday to you in the bathrooms. And because we're so nice, we'll sing it twice. The bar is currently closed, but there is a Wetherspoons open down the road. The service might be a bit slow because their staff numbers are low. A lot of them now work at Tesco. Ice cream will be for sale in the interval. Step in line to try our new COVID-99, 1 scoop, 2 scoops or a bucketful. The interval won't last long, so get as much as you can before they're gone. We've had to up the price because there's an inflation on ice. Our dairy was made by migrant field workers, you know, the ones that keep coming in through them open borders, coming over here milking our udders. We would like to thank our main sponsor, Mr. Richard Branson. We're still waiting for the payment. I mean, how do you send a giant cheque from a private island? Maybe through one of his airplanes, space shuttles and private planes, even an email through his own broadband, but we know he's a fan of cash in hand. We'd like to send our thoughts out to him in these tough times of financial strain. We would also like to thank our commander in bleach, Donald, the head of the cleaning team, a Republican Mr. Sheen. They made our venue great again. Without a doubt, they disinfected this place inside and out. All our VIP balconies sold out quickly. 300,034,974,000 of them, to put it exactly. I hope you're sitting comfortably. The hand sanitizer is complimentary. We hope you can see clearly from up there in the balcony, but we know you get your eyes tested regularly. Thank you for all taking part and coming out. We know public transport and travel hasn't been advised, but we're lucky to have the aid of Dominic's Ring and Ride, so you can keep comings and goings as you please. He's provided us with a shuttle bus which can drop you in a 260-mile radius. Speaking of Muppets, it's time to play the music, it's time to light the lights, it's 8 o'clock, let's get the round of applause right, it's showtime, once in a lifetime, enjoy our pandemic, oh mine.
But COVID-19 cripples and kills, there can be no denying. However, it is not the pandemic which is making people panic. It is the complete indifference of those in power to the suffering of the ordinary citizens. The state states it is a great leveller. This is an obvious lie. Those with power and privilege get preferential treatment. Those without power and privilege are left to their own devices, seen as expendable assets, invisible people. The old and disabled are at the bottom of the division. They will be relegated from the league, lucky to come out alive. We, of course, are used to this. We have long been isolated and marginalised, left on the fringes of society, seen meanly as domestic refugees, struggling to gain a home at your hearth, a place in your heart. Forever seen as a drain on the coffers, the problem that needs taking care of. Did not Adolf Samuel label us as useless eaters, not so lesser, needing help but giving nothing back? You don't need to listen to hard to hear echoes of such sentiments coming home to roost. Phrases like, why use depleting resources on people like them? Some within these communities believe they are using this situation to take care of once and for all. You may not agree with this position statement, but you can see where they're coming from. Knowing this, you can see why some old and disabled people are saying in hushed whispers, scared in case they are overheard, welcome to our world.
This poem is called Senses. Who would have thought a virus could cause so much havoc? We're feeling vulnerable, helpless, and exposed by our senses. Too much time with family, too much time spent alone. Everything is driving us crazy. Have we lost all our senses? Light words and pictures flow through the valleys, sweeping across the double, impressing our senses. While busy birds are nesting, we're deprived of touch. But technology, a webcam, brought us back to our senses. We're linking more with singing birds and buzzing bees. We sit and walk outdoors to discover our natural senses. Apart from the days and weeks, time keeps lapsing. Now feeling like a dream, a vibration of mystical senses. Our days spent under lockdown will turn into stories. We as contemporary poets like to unlock our senses.
Together we will out. Turning our attention to the absence of symbiosis. A waterfall with no water is just a wall of rock. A movement without a generation is a vacuum from hope. An orchard without a snake, a fallacy. But together, we are not just a part, we are a force. Is it possible to be a harbinger of merriment, a portent for the indolent to get off their arses, to care, for community, for solidarity, for humanity. And back to symbiosis, a bi-curiosity of indulgence and lust, to forgotten moments of wisdom and wonder that exist in a realm, nay, a reality of intellectual inequality borne upon clouds of delusion. Hoisted by their own petard, the denizens of class collapsed by an omnipotence, as together we are struck by a vandalous infection. Inalienable rights revisited in the dust of yesterday's parties. Inalienable rights revisited in the dust of all tomorrow's parties. Who would have thought, I say again, who could have thought the product of a splenic dystopia will cleanse the walls of slogans of capital, stupefying the masses into a frenzy of luxurious hopefulness? Yet, with every fibre of the fabric of a fanatic, my utopia, myopia assuaged, together we will out, together we will be whole again.